This video contains spoilers and is intended for people who have already finished watching the anime Villainess Level 99. I may be the hidden boss, but I'm not the demon lord. With the return of the 7th prince this season, I had a nostalgic feeling for anime with overpowered main characters. It's a trope that has been done to death at this point, but I very much enjoy characters whose main feature is that they are so strong that everyone who knows the character knows they can't lose to anything the universe throws at them. Coincidentally, on a thread about the anime apocalypse bringer Minagra, world conquest starts with the civilization of ruin, in which the protagonist appears as an evil dark blobby silhouette with eyes to inhabitants of his world. Someone mentioned that the same thing occurs to the protagonist of Villainous Level 99. Intrigued by this, I decided to watch it. I could tell by the title that Villainous Level 99 was one of those isekai anime about a girl that reincarnates as the villainess of a dating simulation game. The plot in this case is that she was the hidden boss destined to be defeated by the heroine, so she decides to amass enough strength to be able to defeat the heroine if they ever end up fighting for some reason. Although villainous anime are rarer than isekai in general, we've already had dozens of these by now, including this very plot, so I didn't know what to expect. Was this going to be decent, or just another boring isekai with a protagonist that has the personality of a blank sheet of paper? In the end, it wasn't anything exceptional, but surprisingly it wasn't so bad either. The story is kind of a mess, though, for multiple reasons. One thing that doesn't make sense is the protagonist's introduction. She is a gamer who, for some reason, is playing a dating simulation game, but she doesn't even like the dating parts of the dating simulation. Why is she playing this game to begin with if she doesn't even like the genre? It doesn't make sense if you think about it. Naturally, she needs to play the game if she is to be reincarnated as the villainess. Otherwise, there would be too little cohesion in the plot. But usually you would expecting something like, she likes dating simulation games, but this game in particular she didn't like the story and preferred the RPG parts, or perhaps she doesn't like them at all and lost a bet with a friend, and now she has to play the game. It was a very weak prologue to the story. Of course, it doesn't matter a lot, but it felt a little too hand-wavy, similar to a reincarnation isekai, where the protagonist just randomly dies without even getting hit by a truck, and then a goddess just gives him a new life for no particular reason at all, just because without these events, the story won't be part of the isekai genre that the author wants the story to be. For example, we could remove most the isekai elements if we just said that the villainess had a vision from the future and decided to change heart while there was still time. In this case, she would still have a reason to gain strength and to know about the other characters and about the demon lord. Another weird thing about this series was the protagonist's fixation on leveling up. It's true that she was a gamer and spent years leveling up, but it was like she became flanderized. The only thing she thinks about is leveling up now, disregarding any common sense, even though she is already at the maximum level. I get that this is supposed to be a quirk for comedic effect, but it felt really forced, especially as she ignores other characters to use the flute to draw monsters near her. Later, she appears oblivious about her dragon as well. Why is she like this? Was she like this before, or was this the result of too many concussions inside the dungeon? It's also odd that you can reach level 99 by training on just a single dungeon over and over again. It makes sense that game mechanics would be easily exploitable if you were inside the game and could do anything. But it was still pretty stupid to see that she could just restrain the monsters with a high-level spell and let everyone safely attack to gain strength. I really dislike this sort of thing because it invalidates the efforts of normal characters that already lived in that universe before the protagonist arrived there. The nation's strongest warrior is level 60 after fighting many, many battles and emerging victorious time after time. How many of his colleagues he must have lost in those battles? All because he was an idiot who didn't think about just restrained weak demons and stabbing them over and over again 12 hours per day, every day for months. Had he done that, he would have been level 99 already. At least it seems widely agreed that going into a dungeon without a protection amulet is insanity, because people die when they are killed. Something that perhaps our protagonist wasn't fully aware of. Maybe the only reason she could manage to reach level 99 was because she treated the world as if it were still a game? I doubt this was what the author intended, but it's what I inferred from the story. It was awkward to see the protagonist's level get exposed in the first episode. It was even more awkward that everyone doubted it, and this dragged on for several episodes. Even after it was revealed that she didn't cheat the test, the protagonist was still shunned by everyone because her massive strength and dark magic attribute made everyone think she was the reincarnation of the demon lord. As if that wasn't enough, the author had to add a racism subplot about hair color. This all felt extremely unnecessary. Surely, most students in the school would despise her just because she doesn't get along with the prince? That sounds about as realistic, but far more succinct than this mess of a plot. Even if black hair was normal, everyone was okay with dark magic, and people thought being level 99 was epic. Just the fact that the prince doesn't like her should have been enough to turn a school full of nobles against her. They all would want to be on royalty's side, after all. It's like the protagonist always needed one more reason to be hated by everyone. Did the heroine really need to see her as an evil black mass? It just feels too forced. The displays of power were okay, I guess. Black Hole is a pretty epic spell, but compared to overpowered spells from other anime, it didn't feel very impressive. Maybe a different studio or a different budget could have changed this. All thought, I'm not sure if better animation for spells would have made any significant difference. It's not really an action anime. There are a few things that I really loved about this anime. The first thing is the villainous personality. She knows she is more powerful than everyone else and doesn't stop herself from asserting it. She tells other characters that they can't beat her. This was rather novel. I'm not sure if I have ever seen a protagonist say something like this before. The second thing was the love interest. What a Chad. He hears her rejecting a guy at a party saying that she would only date someone stronger than herself, and instead of giving up like everyone else, he takes that as a challenge and starts leveling up in dungeons to become her equal, following the exact instructions she was giving everyone in the series for several episodes, and nobody was listening to. That was such a beautiful display of love in its own unique way. Probably one of the nicest things I've ever seen a guy do in anime for a girl. By the way, I really like the music when he enters the dungeon. Brines a tear to the eye. The third thing was that important plot points actually connected at the end of the story. The demon lord was hinted to only target that specific country, and it was later revealed that he was just some guy that wanted revenge. I'm not a fan of this type of twist, where the evil guy has his reasons to be evil, to be honest. I think the evil guy should just be evil because he is evil. It's a bit tiring when every single series wants to give the evil guy a tragic past and make his actions excusable. Perhaps this is because it's hard for the author, as a human being, to imagine that a person could simply be evil without a reason. Perhaps the author comprehends this possibility, but doesn't want to spread the idea in his work. Either way, I don't like it. What I do like, however, is the fact that the demon lord wasn't trying to conquer or destroy the world, but only a single country. This is actually a great idea, as it helps explain many aspects of the story that would otherwise be typical plot holes. For example, why are students from the academy participating in the operation to defeat the demon lord? If the demon lord were to antagonize the entire world, one would imagine that there would be so many soldiers from other countries coming to help that sending students to battle would be unnecessary. But if the demon lord is targeting only a specific country, then maybe some exceptional students could become useful in the battlefield. The fourth and final thing that I loved about this anime was the ending. I'd have expected it to be just an automatic ending. The protagonist defeats the demon lord and everyone goes home. The end. After all, considering that the protagonist is level 99 and the hidden boss, what else could possibly happen? But it was much more than that. The sudden betrayal of the heroine was something that I wouldn't have seen coming in 1,000 years, and it made a lot of sense. The game's logic forces her to take predestinated actions, and one of these actions is to defeat the hidden boss after the demon lord is defeated. It's extremely rare that a twist that is so obvious in hindsight catches me off guard like this. But the cherry on the top was what happened after. Being stabbed in the back by a light attribute dagger. The villainess should have died, but she didn't. And the only reason she didn't die was because this time she was wearing an amulet of protection. The protagonist thought nobody in the entire game could best her, not even the demon lord. She was the hidden boss at the maximum level in the game. What could she have to fear? In a way, she had become overconfident in the same manner that villains in anime typically become, and she would have met her demise at the hands of the heroine, just like those villains typically do. The only thing that prevented this from happening and saved her life was the love interest insisting that she wore the amulet of protection even though she didn't think she needed it. The power of love saved her. All things considered, I have mixed feelings for this series. Not much interesting happens in most episodes, so it's not a great series in general, but it did have some good moments that I appreciated, so it wasn't a terrible series either. I'm not sure if I would recommend it, but I wouldn't recommend against it either. It was okay, I guess. Like and subscribe for more anime reviews.